Not all Christians are hypocrites. Let's get that right out of the way. I know a ton of good and decent, moral, upstanding, loving Christians who are not vile, disgusting hypocrites. Too many Republican Christians are just that, though. And this includes Ainsley Earhardt, one of the hosts of Fox and Friends on Fox News, who famously, I think I might be the only one who has this clip I'm getting ready to show. It's from years ago where she was on whatever show, The Five or Outnumbered or whatever, where she's screaming across at another participant on a panel, "What about the majority? I'm so sick of taking care of the minority."
I do want to say that it is because we protect the rights of the minority, and there are listen, we have separation of church and state in this country.
What about the majority?
Okay, the majority.
I'm so tired of protecting the minority. What about the majority?
Okay, the majority.
I'm so tired of protecting the minority.
I think I might be the only one with that clip. We've used it for a long time on the podcast, my podcast, I doubt it. And what's funny about that clip is in that moment, they're actually talking about religious minority groups. Jews and Muslims in the United States, which is a Christian majority country, not a Christian nation, but the majority of people here who practice faith are practicing Christians, or at least acknowledge, self-identified as Christians. Maybe they're just cultural Christians who don't actually practice. But this is a woman who acts like she is a pious, mighty, righteous woman of God, constantly banging on about Christianity, about Donald Trump's faith, about her own faith, even though she had an affair with Sean Hannity and ended up getting divorced, and now she's with Sean Hannity and not her husband, like Christians do. And she was interviewing the woman who plays a role, it's not the head of the White House Faith Office, because that would be grifter, charlatan, liar, Paula White, but this other lady, and she specifically asks, "Tell us about Donald Trump's Christianity. Tell us about his faith. Tell us about Donald Trump's Christianity, his adherence to the red letters in the Bible, Jesus's words. A man who cheated on his first wife with his second wife, and then cheated on his second wife with his third wife, has raw-dogged porn stars and then paid them to be quiet, who has defrauded charities, not allowed to legally operate a charity in the state of New York, because he defrauded charities." Christian man. A man who defrauded and schemed people in his fake university. A man who has mocked disabled people, who has said vile, racist things, who tried to prevent black people from renting apartments in his buildings. Christian man. Tell us more about his Christianity. Watch this, and again, not surprising, but still shocking nonetheless that someone who claims to be a Christian would be like this.
Tell us about President Trump's faith. I know that he has said publicly that the assassination attempts did change him and make him closer to God. There are a lot of people in the Christian community when we talk that will say they believe that God had a plan in all of this and spared his life so that he could go on to become president. How have those assassination attempts and becoming president changed his life?
Right. Well, first, I think people need to know that President Trump has had faith in his life in his early ages, going to Sunday school. One of his treasures books is the Bible given to him by his mother. And then fast forward into his adulthood in 2000, when he called Pastor Paula White and was watching Christian television. So remember, before he even thought about being president, he was watching Christian television. And so faith has been a big part of his life. But as he said publicly, and he says the same thing privately, he knows that God spared his life on July 13th. And you just see a resolve, and you see that determination and humility here in order to do just such an amazing job for the American people. And he knows that God spared his life so that he could make America great again and return America to the golden age. And that includes bringing faith back to the White House and back to America.
Faith has played a big role in his life. Now, look, I know that you're probably saying to yourself that this is just ridiculous on its face. Nobody believes this. I know people. I personally know people, not one person, people who do believe that Donald Trump is a mighty, righteous man of God who attends church every Sunday, who is a faithful adherent to Christianity. They are so deluded in their thoughts. They think so little of their own deeply held faith that they believe Donald Trump is a Christian. And this entire notion that God saved Donald Trump's life, all you have to do is just reverse engineer that logic. That means that God did not spare the man's life or the family of the man who was killed. His life, unimportant. Donald Trump needed to be, an intervention needed to happen to make certain he was allowed to live. I guess God just could have not allowed the shooter to go there to kill the Trump supporter at the rally, right? That would be too much thought, though, for these people. This is state media in action to try to make Donald Trump, in a time where he doesn't look good, polls are cratering all around him as he's shipping off other Christians to gulags in foreign prisons. Do you think Kilmar Abrego Garcia is a Muslim or a Jew or a Sikh or some other religion, a Hindu, a Buddhist? Do you think that? No, he's a Christian. But their love of fellow Christians is overridden by the fact that he's brown. So, no love for him, no compassion for him, no empathy for him. What about the majority? I'm so tired of taking care, protecting the minority. What do you think? I would appreciate your participation in this conversation. You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line, leave a fewer than 3-minute voicemail, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. Please consider, if you have an extra $2 a month, if you're on a fixed income or you're tight on money, do not become a channel member. In fact, you should cancel your membership if you're doing it. Take care of yourself. That's what's most important. You can subscribe, you can like, you can share, you can comment on this, do all the things that YouTubers constantly talk about. Those things are important and they're free. But if you do have $2 a month that you do not, you just look at it as wasting it. You can support this work, help me produce these videos for $2 a month. Click the join button below, become a channel member, or go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Or go to dollemore.com, check out all of the merch designs. There's all kinds of different colors of t-shirts, Fight Poverty, Not the Poor, a great statement, a great conversation starter. There's all kinds of stuff there. The new book that children's book that we published, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, I would appreciate it very much. Again, dollemore.com. And to keep the Dollemore train rolling, you can follow me on social media at Dollemore, just about everywhere. I'd love to see you there. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.